What's going on, guys? I see Trades here, and today we're going to be doing a technical analysis breakdown on Tesla TSLA. What we're really going to be looking at is if price can trend out of this range and reach that $367 level, breaking out of this overall formation, or if sellers are going to continue to step in here and push us further down. Now, getting started on the weekly, guys, we see that big movement to that 488 level after a little bit of chop between that 220 and say that rough 294 range slash that 273. We see some chop there. So let's try to push it below it, get back in that range, and that's where you see that tap of 220 and then that explosive movement to that 488 level. Not much holding the buyers back, but then we see that sharp correction, pretty much mirroring this exact movement, just like that. Buyers get it, sellers bring it right back down, right to that 220. So roughly, we got that double bottom of a longer term formation, and then we move right back up. Buyers buy back up. Not as dramatic as the last time, but we do nevertheless get that movement up. And instead of retracing that entire movement, we see that sellers try to push it back down about halfway of that movement, and then buyers buy it back up. And a little bit of a fight here, but we are holding tighter around that, rough $313 level, closing at 315. So the weekly stays pretty self-explanatory. We got that big move up, big move down, smaller move back up, but we did get that bounce with that double bounce formation. And the sellers try to push it back down about halfway of that formation, and we get that bounce up, and we're trending pretty tight here. So what you'd like to see now, guys, is a movement up. Buyers really taking this consolidation, as on the weekly we're in a choppy, what I'd like to call it, flag and pull, as it's not a straight one candle up consolidation, but we got that nice move up, and now we are consolidating in this range, right, chopping around. So what you want to see here, guys, is a nice movement up as we see that buying pressure come in, creating that red hammer candle, holding above this support level. So what you want to see after this chop, nice movement up, testing the top of that range around that $367 level. Ultimately, the top of this red wide bar on that rough $350 level, guys. So you want to see that move up within the next couple of weeks. All right, now on the daily shows a little bit of a better perspective of that sharp sell-off, right? We bottom at that 220, getting that longer term rough double bottom, as well as showing that in the shorter term, that $220 level really held up, right? 1-2 test, another test, boom, right back up. Get back below it, 3 more tests, get that movement up, and then once again, one more test of that support, showing that we are very strong at that level, and then we get that drastic move up, breaking out of this longer term descending pattern, and then we hold tight, right, chopping between that 273, 294, a little bit of resistance there, and then we see that flag and pull structure, big movement up. Buyers really gain that control as someone has to win here. We're really tight, breaking out of a really major range, so someone has to win. Either we get pushed back down to that 220, or we get that movement up. Buyers get that movement up. Beautiful price action, getting this tight pennant, apex like range, and then we try to push higher, right? We're trying to stair step here. See a beautiful move up, consolidate. See another beautiful move up, consolidate. You'd want to see that leg up, boom. Once again, same thing to that 400 level, consolidate, and then boom. We don't get that. Tap at that 367, and then we see that sell off. Getting back in this consolidation range, retracing about half of that movement. So you see up, consolidation, up, consolidation, up. Cannot get that up. We retrace back to this consolidation zone here. And then we get that sharp move, right? Bounce off that 273. Beautiful wide bar. And we get in another apex pennant-like range. And then we break out once again, trying to reclaim that $348 support. Once again, sellers step back in there, pushing us back down, creating a higher low of this formation. Kind of ascending here, right? A little bit of an ascending formation. Get that bounce at 294, and we trend back up. We're above that 313 level, right at 315. So from the short-term perspective, we are more favored with the bulls as we've seen that beautiful big move up. We only retraced half of that. See another nice move up. Yeah, we got that lower high, but we also got that higher low. As sellers try to push it back down, we can't get back down to that $273 level. We create that higher low, and we find a bounce there. Get back above, reclaiming this consolidation range here. Right, consolidation, consolidation, and consolidation, all different ranges. So instead of getting pushed back down to this one here, we find that consolidation right here, right in the middle of those two pretty much. And then what you want to see here is bulls to continue to push it higher, get back in this choppy range, right, reclaim this consolidation range, ultimately getting out of this overall formation, breaking through that 367, getting in this zone where there wasn't much consolidation, really just kind of moves up and down between that 367 and 403. You see a little bit of chop here. It's really been an exit path of either going up or going down. Not much chop. So if we got up in that range and saw a lot of chop, that would be new price action. So if we get above that 367, I think we're pretty much clear to that 403. Might see a little bit of chop, but definitely would be a pretty good scenario to be in for the buyers. And as for the bears, as for the sellers, you want to see them push this down. You don't want to see them get that movement up, even back to this consolidation range. Furthermore, up to the top of this range, because if they do that, bulls are in that ultimate control after getting that overextended movement, after holding higher, not letting them push all the way back down from that movement. And then you see, once again, push back up, holding higher. And if we could push above this, creating kind of a, if we could push back above this, guys, this would just be textbook. Buyers are in that control. We do have that back and forth, but buyers, if they can get that momentum and volume flushes in here, definitely be seeing that movement back up to 367, and in the short term back to this consolidation range. If you're a bear, watch for resistance at that 333 level, as that was that rough consolidation support. Reject off there and then trend back down to this consolidation range here at that 273 if we can't hold that 294. But overall, guys, I like what I'm seeing here. I think we definitely look better for the buyers. All right, guys, now on the hourly, we see that stair step like fashion, right? Breaking out of that long-term range, boom, consolidate, boom, up again, consolidate, try to do it again, cannot do that, tap, get that sell off about halfway of that formation, and then boom, consolidate. So it's very, mirroring of each other. They're very similar in how this price moves. Get that big movement up, get in the choppy range, get another big movement up, choppy range, attempt at another big movement up, get back down, big movement down, right? And then big movement up, choppy range, another big movement up, big movement down. So this stock is very prone to these big movements up and down, as Tesla's a volatile large cap stock. And then these, pretty tight apex like ranges where we build up that energy and then boom, we see a big movement either up or down. A lot of time in this case scenario, big movement up when we build up that energy, as this has happened every time. Build that energy, move up, build that energy, move up, build that energy, move up. Between this 333 and 313, it's definitely a probable thing to happen. Build up some energy, find resistance, find support, and then blow up trying to break through that 367. Or we could really just bypass this entire range and consolidate up here. So it's really give or take where we will find that energy building phase, or if we even will find that energy building phase. And if we will just get that leg up, buyers can get that ultimate control to around that $348 and $367 level, as we are in an ascending profile here. Buyers are gaining that advantage. And we see how responsive Tesla has been as of recently, right? Bouncing off these support levels, finding that move up, trying to use that resistance as support. And then boom, right when we get to that support zone, we bounce right away. Bounce, nice green wide bar. And right when we get to the support zone of 313, bounce, 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 try to trend up. Tesla's being responsive here. It's definitely a good thing to have as a buyer, as if we continue to be responsive, you could see something like a little bit of chop here, as this was a very choppy zone. But once we get above this, we will reclaim this level as support, as we've seen right here, guys, support of this range. Reclaim that as support and trend higher, as this was the top of that range. Trend higher, and then would be pretty much cleared within that 348 and 367 to reach the top of that formation and break out. So yeah, guys, looking pretty good for the buyers here. We have held higher. Sellers only retracing half of that zone, and then we are still pushing up, and we're in a bullish phase here, trying to push back up. Also, given that this sell-off was when that Elon and Trump controversy was happening, a lot of people thought that we were going back to the floor around that 220 zone, guys, back to that floor. We did not do that. We held higher, and then boom, buyers regained that control. So given that really bad news, buyers held up pretty nicely. And then we continue to see that bullish price action. I think if the bears regain that control, it will have to be within the next week of trading. I think they really got to get that control before we see another nice leg up here. But in the short term, as well as I'd say the medium and long term, if we can break above this formation, looking pretty good for Tesla. Watch out for news. I know there's a lot of news circling Tesla right now with all the controversy between Elon and Trump, so just keep that in mind. But from a TA perspective, I like what I'm seeing, guys. If you guys enjoyed and want to see more Tesla videos, make sure to like and subscribe, as I'll continue to cover Tesla as well as other major tickers. Trade smart, and I'll see you guys in the next one.